they have never seen them.
Okay. Good morning. You're fine. Thank you guys for meeting with me today. I wanted to talk a little bit about professional development. And I want it to be very organic. So I have some questions, but if your answers take us someplace else, then we'll go with that. The first question I want to ask is, what type of professional development would you like to see given?
Well, this school year, we're here at the school, we're implementing the Nurture Heart,
Right?
and I feel that I need more help with that because I'm not able to implement it as it's supposed to be. We were given one Saturday
Right.
and then another like 2 hours, but I would like for the professional to come into the classroom so I can see it how it's done properly.
So it may not be that you weren't given as much training as you like, but you really are not sure what the model looks like in the classroom.
Correct.
Especially since you're a co-teacher and so you come in and you go out.
Mhm.
So how do you, okay, that's good. All right.
Some more coaching on it.
To actually see the model. So
Yes.
you'd like somebody to come into a classroom and coach you
Yes,
on how to use it.
definitely.
Okay, so more coaching on Nurtured Heart. Anything else? Any other professional developments?
Well, I'd like to go back to the Nurtured Heart. That we've been through several trainings. I myself have been through 3 of them. And during the different trainings, I see that I think it depends on the trainer. It differs a little bit in what they're telling you. For example, I always believed that the word reset was mandatory, that you had to use it. But in the last training we went to just a little bit over a week ago, the lady who did the training said that that was not necessarily true and that you didn't even have to have a word. You could pick a word, or you might not even have a word that is a phrase or something. So I guess I was a little bit confused. She showed 2 different videos, and on one of the videos, the teacher was using the whole reset, and she kept saying, reset. And then on the second video, it was also an elementary school, and that teacher never once said reset.
How did she reset the classroom?
I didn't see any behaviors, to be honest with you.
Oh.
So she was
Interesting.
positive. She
Right.
had the students' attention, but I didn't see anyone necessarily misbehaving or not following the rules. So I think she had a very positive atmosphere, and maybe that was contributing. It was more of a classroom management style, but not necessarily what I would consider to be the reset, nurtured heart style.
So would you like to see a campus-based word, or would you like to see classroom-based words, or no word at all?
I think it would depend on the classroom, each
So a
individual
classroom-based
classroom.
word. Do you think that the reason that we use the word reset is because administration here wanted a campus-based word so that when the students went from grade level to grade level, the word would be the same? Or
It makes sense that they would have one word that's unified throughout the campus so that every student knows what you're speaking about. But I still am a little bit, I guess, confused as to, I didn't realize there were different versions
Oh.
of how you could reset a student.
okay, so now we have 2 of you saying that more training, actually all 3 of you saying more training coaching on Nurtured Heart because you're finding that the models differ. And so we want a clarification. Okay. Clarification on models, or maybe what we need is a clarification in the fact that, as we all know in teaching, not one thing works. You have to try it this way, then you try it this way, then you try it this way, and then you figure out what works best for you in that class that year. The next year it may not work for that class. So, so that's a good question to ask. Okay, are there any other types of professional developments? Because I know, here in our district we offer quite a bit of for in-class training, trainings on Readers and Writers Workshop, math trainings, science trainings, but we also offer technology trainings. Are there any trainings that you feel like We have, training for special education. I mean, I feel like we have lots of different trainings, but sometimes I don't feel like they're specific enough. So I was wondering how you guys felt about that.
I think focused right now on the dynamics of the school right now, my thought process is of classroom management, is what I'm seeing that
Okay.
some of us need to focus on, is classroom management and positive behavior supports.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Based on classroom management, do you feel like we need training before the school year starts and then maybe supplemental training to help us throughout the year? Because as the year progresses, we get tired, students get tired, testing season's upon us, we're stressed and all those things. So would you like to see the bulk of the training before the school year?
Definitely.
Okay. So. Okay. How about anybody else?
I would like to see some training when we get back from Christmas break.
Okay.
We have a professional development day that we come back to campus and we don't have students. And I feel it would be beneficial to have that day focus back on regrouping the students, on reestablishing the norms and the policies and procedures for our classrooms.
So you want to see an overall professional development reminding us about what our I don't want to say rules, but what our general philosophy
Yes.
and our mission is here.
Yes.
Okay, since you brought up the professional development after Christmas break, I wanted to ask you guys how you liked that training. Did you like that training? Because in that training they gave us a choice. Now I know if you are reading language arts, you didn't really have much of a choice, but there were different choices throughout the day on which ones to go with. How did you like that? Or that format, I guess, is what I'm asking.
Well, being a co-teacher, I was only given certain workshops. And for example, going back to the Nurture Heart, that was mandatory. And there was no choice about that. And I was actually excited because I thought, well, maybe this is going to click for me.
Right.
And I'm going to be able to learn more. But the presenter, she only showed us slides, and she was actually reading from the slides. So I came empty-handed once again. There was one that I really did enjoy because now we're all cohesive. Where if you are doing middle of the year testing, now we all know how to mark the students when we are looking for reading levels.
So
So I really did like that.
So you liked the reading one.
Yes.
You don't feel like you were given enough choice.
No.
So we like the theme of choice. I mean,
I think we should have choice, but I think maybe leading up to the professional development, maybe do like a survey of what teachers on campus are needing, and then create those workshops based off of that.
okay. How do you think, since you brought that up, like I said, I wanted this to be organic, what teachers are needing? How should we, as a classroom teacher, decide or understand what we need? Should we look at data? Or, because I know as a classroom teacher, I reflect a lot on my management, on what I've taught, on what they've learned. I look at my data. So is that all the information that I should use to decide what it is I need?
I think observation is important, like knowing if there's a star teacher in something, some particular subject, having the ability to go watch and see what that teacher's doing that maybe I'm not doing and start my checklist from there.
Okay, so observing on-campus teachers, or would you prefer, well, I mean, campus is the easiest, but I know that before we've been offered to be able to go watch teachers throughout the district.
I think on campus would be the most feasible because then it's easier. You can go during, conference hours or have coverage for a little bit rather than having to travel somewhere.
Okay. Okay, anybody else have thoughts on that?
Going back to the workshop we had after the winter break,
Right.
there was an exit ticket
Right.
that I felt that there was no need for it because the entire ticket was with things that the administrators wanted us to look forward to. It had absolutely nothing with the workshops. And
So it didn't have anything to do with reflecting on the professional development of the day.
none whatsoever. But since it was a mandatory exit ticket, either you do it or you stay here
Right.
until you're done. So I just went with the flow, even though I felt that there was no need for it.
Okay.
And then
Good.
just to add to the exit ticket, it did become an issue because of the time constraints that we had and the amount of the professional developments that we had to go to, trying to get 20 people to get that ticket signed so you could go to the next class.
You had to get 20 people
Well, no,
to
you
sign-
had the presenter had to sign off
Oh,
on
yes.
everybody.
Yes.
And so if the presenter waited till the last second when we
Right.
were walking out the door, then there was a jam to try to get that.
And that was on top of the exit ticket, right?
Mhm.
That was
Yeah.
on top
Yeah.
of the exit.
Okay, and so the presenter had to sign,
Or stamp or
what was the
something.
reason?
Just give proof that we
Proof
were
that
actually
So
in that
proof
workshop.
that you were there. Okay.
Mhm.
And that took away from the actual professional development.
Well, you can imagine everyone making an exit trying to get to the next
Right.
one, and then everyone trying to
Showing up
sign.
late to the next one.
Yeah.
Who did the presenting of that last professional development? Were they district level people or were they campus level people?
Campus
Campus.
level.
Campus.
Did you enjoy teacher leader? I guess is how we would phrase that. Teacher leader, professional development versus someone coming from district to give it?
In my opinion, I think we find this a lot, and we're all guilty of it. When it's campus level, obviously we're friends and we're coworkers, and so the professionalism drops a little bit. Whereas, and it's neither side's fault. We all
Right.
know each other, and that's just what happens. Whereas when it's campus level, or even somebody we've contracted in, there's a different level of professionalism that we all feel we have to attain to.
Okay. So you prefer district level or?
It's not that I prefer one or the other. I
outside
think it's
presenter.
it's just I think that's what we all see, that it just gets more lax, and so sometimes you don't get as much information as you maybe could have if there wasn't that personal connection, and asking about how your weekend was, or little
Right.
sidebar conversations.
Okay. So it wasn't necessarily the fact that the teacher leader was not, my words have lost me, wasn't that they were not proficient in what they were teaching as much as it was in not having seen each other. And so this was the first day back, and so doing some of the camaraderie things that happen on
Exactly.
campus. Okay. So. Okay. So let me go back to the data because I'm not sure we answered that. Is there data you're using to support your reason for wanting a particular professional development? Or should there be data? Should you be using data to help guide what you think you need professional development in?
Well, I'm not sure if I'm speaking just for myself, for all of us, but I don't think we have ever had, at least this year, I have not seen a workshop that is driven because of the data that we have done from a district benchmark or in-school benchmark. I mean, I haven't seen that. We're so close to start testing, and then during our POCs, we do look at data, and then we make our tutoring groups or wing time groups, but then it changes. So I'm not sure if administrator is actually looking into data and passing that information to us so we can actually have professional development driven from that.
Okay, so let me ask you this. You've looked at data that we have here. I'm sure we've all looked at data. We have lots of data to look at. So based on the most recent data that you've looked at, if I were to ask you to
Pick a PD. Or
thank you,
develop
yes.
A PD.
Yes, develop a professional development or suggest a professional development, which one would it be? Or in what? What would the content area be?
I think writing,
Okay.
fourth grade.
Okay, let me ask you this, because we have concentrated over the last several years, in my experience, that we look at fourth grade because they're either not coming ready, they don't know the mechanics of a sentence and things like that. So when we say writing, should we really just focus in on fourth grade, or should we encompass K through 3 because they're the foundation for our fourth grade writing to help?
That would be an awesome dream,
Yeah,
but
that's
sort
what
of
I was
not,
gonna say.
right now it's just a dream because right now we're just focusing on fourth grade.
Right. So if we had the professional development right now, okay, so let me go back then. If we were thinking about the beginning of the year, you think a professional development, and do you think a professional development in writing K through 4? And of course, then I guess it would have to be grade level specific, would help. That way everybody's on board. We know what our focus is. Besides the fact that the curriculum gives you a focus, we feel, or I'm trying not to speak for everyone here, and so you guys,
Well, I think like coming from first grade, I think we do so many professional developments in the summer, especially if you're a bilingual teacher. And then the ones that are mandatory by the district, like standards, which I got nothing
Nothing.
from. So I think it would be better if we're going to put in 24 hours. Why not make that about how to teach reading for K1 and 2? Like really spend an entire day on modeled lessons and how to look at the curriculum, and then getting up to second, third, and fourth, focusing in on writing, and let go of these other things that are more clerical. They're not. I don't think that those workshops are doing anything for the classroom teacher. Maybe a quick PowerPoint that we can read on our own just to be familiar with these standards, because at the end of the day, we're looking at the lesson plans anyway, and we're
Right.
putting them together. So
Right.
I think we're losing focus on our summer professional development.
as a district.
Yes.
Okay. What if we separated the categories? What if we looked at professional development and all of the reminders that we need, because we've been off on the summer too, all the clerical reminders that we need, and then content specific and sometimes grade level specific. Does that sound like?
Sounds great.
So if we did that, what would our categories look like? So if we did,
It would be like what's state mandated, what's the new rules and laws that have come about, and it would be like your subject areas.
Yes.
okay, so if there were
That
any
sounds good.
standards, new standards, or the changing of the standards,
The
which we know
ELPs,
have
the
been,
TEKS, just
Right.
make that one workshop. Spend one day on all of it rather than half a day on reading the standards. I mean,
Yeah.
it just didn't.
right, okay. And then the other professional development would be content specific. Reading, how to teach reading K through 2, how to teach writing 2 through 4, how to teach or how to model math, maybe K through 2 and then 3 through 5, because we know the operations
all.
change. Okay, so if we offered professional development in these two types of categories, how would we ensure, or how do we ensure that teachers attend both that they need, and when should we give them? For instance, the state mandated, the ELPS, the TEKS. Nobody likes to go sit through professional development. It's very dry. And if we've been teaching for a while, you're familiar with the TEKS, and as bilingual teacher, you're usually familiar with the ELPS. So when would you offer that?
I would probably say. You mean like month-wise, like time frame?
I guess what I'm asking is, would you offer that before, obviously, no, let me not say obviously. Would you offer that before school started? And if so, when?
I would offer it probably late July, August, and I would probably make it mandatory for new teachers, because that's something not all new teachers know.
Okay.
I think we should move away from everyone sitting in a classroom. We all talk about technology and the new world of learning. So why can't this be online? Why can't I do this
Yeah.
on my own time when my children are running around in the background?
Or
Oh, I like that.
on vacation or whatever.
Yeah,
You know.
I mean,
So many of us have done our masters a complete
Mhm.
online program. Why
Online.
can't we do professional development?
at
We
least
can.
make it a viable option. I mean, certainly
Some people do
would
need to
prefer.
sit, yeah.
Maybe some people would prefer, but the rest of us who've been teaching, whatever, 5, 10 years, why can't we do an online version of this?
Okay. I'll certainly
And then I was
suggest
thinking,
that.
because we were doing categories, I think there should be a third category, which should be technology,
Mhm.
just the refresher, Starboard, e-instruction. Because so many now, since we haven't had the TL2s and those meetings, so many of the new teachers have no idea how to. They're getting their instruction on a 5-minute speed through. Just connect. You're almost doing it for them rather than.
Okay, since you brought up new teachers, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, one of the things I've always thought is, okay, as a new teacher, whether you're new with no experience or new with experience in this district, we, as a district, mandate that our new teachers attend professional development before school. And I've always thought, past a certain day, if you have 5 days of professional development in a row on technology that you're going to use in the classroom before school starts, my feeling is, and you guys tell me whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong, is that I don't remember any of that when I get back into the classroom because I'm overwhelmed. I'm in a new district or I'm brand new teaching. I have all this technology. I received 1 day or maybe 2 days of technology training on all of the technologies we use. We use online grading. We use online testing. We use online looking at the data. We use online attendance. I mean, there are a lot of technologies we use in a classroom just to maintain our classroom. And you're right. All of that needs to be given, but I have a feeling that it's over.
It's very overwhelming. As a new teacher to this district, I personally, since I'm a co-teacher, I didn't have to go to all those trainings. But even some of the new teachers, they just had to pick which ones they wanted to go to. So I mean, there could have been some they didn't go to, and I mean it.
So they were given choices. Okay.
And
Which
that's
we
hard
all
because
like.
as a new teacher, how do you know what you need?
Yeah, and I was asking, what is this? What is this? And they're like, oh, you don't need any of that. You're a co-teacher. And I was like, okay, well. And technically, yes, I probably needed some of that.
Okay. That's good to know. I agree with you. I think that we should offer probably 3 different technology.
Or
How do
maybe
you-
even something on campus where, like, one, how we have our days here on campus, pair up. If you have a mentee, spend the entire morning setting up your give us time to do that, not where we're running around, because then we can give authentic help to that teacher.
Right.
We have the time frame built in that I can set up your technology, I can set up your e-instruction class, I can show you how to create a quick test, because if not, we have our things we got to get done.
Right.
They need their things done. So if you just gave us a day where all the maybe seasoned teachers can help the new teachers, I think the year would just start out so much more smooth.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you. Okay. So I just want to sum it up then. 3 different categories of professional development. Some maybe online, moving some of these ALPS and TEKS possibly professional developments to online if you so are inclined to take classes that way. Then content specific and grade level specific professional development, again before school. Okay, and then technology, again before school. Okay. So now we have 3 different categories, all before school, to refresh those of us that have been teaching for a while, to help the new teachers coming in. I would ask this, do you feel like follow-up mandatories, maybe not in the ALPS or the TEKS, but in the content-based and technology-based, once a month. So devote 1 afternoon or one of the days that we have campus level in services?
Yeah.
Which one?
I think the in-service, because the afternoon I think would be rushing it again. Everybody's,
Okay.
I mean, I just hate to say it, but we're all tired and we've, some of us are just burnt out at the end of the day, especially the teachers with the little ones and, behavior issues and all that. And by the afternoon, are you really focused? Are you really, plugged in?
Not
Whereas-
to mention the additional trainings that
Yeah.
we have, the TELPAS, the STAR, the calibration. I mean, we have all that going on too. So you're adding that on top of this, plus the faculty meetings.
Because I know the
Okay.
majority of us try to get all of our professional development during the summer.
Right.
And years ago, it did its job where you were like, oh, I don't need to take any more during the year. Well, now it doesn't matter if you did all your hours because it's just
There's
poured on
mandatory
you.
ones coming
Yeah.
up.
Okay. Well, thank you guys very much for your time today. I appreciate it. Have a good day.